What is going on, everybody? I know y'all still waking up. Y'all trying to hurry up and get off of work today on Friday. But the Ball is Life sports show is here, man. Shout out to Legion of Greatness, BSS Carolinas. I got some pretty successful people here with me. Man, I got my partner in crime, Mr. ESPN himself, James Garner. What's going on with you?
Man, nothing. It's Friday. Let's get into it.
Look, man, I got my big brother over here, brother from another mother, my man Rock from BSS Carolinas.
What's going on, man? Ready for another great day of sports talk.
Fellow Dallas Cowboy fan as well.
Here we go.
Looking pretty good so far. You know, I didn't brag last year. I am this year.
Man, we got to. And, of course, man, on the right of me, I got one of the best recruiters, not only in the state of North Carolina, but on the East Coast in general, my man Lamont Taylor from Get Me Recruited.
Hey, glad to be here early this morning.
I know some pretty busy people.
True.
But you, by far, my man, are the third busiest person I know.
Who the first two?
The president and myself.
I know.
That's good company.
We got time for you. We got B Wills, who's not with us today.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to my man B Will. My fault. I'm four. B Will is more busier than me, man. Shout out to my man B Will. I know you out there on the road doing something for DTLR. We love you. Shout out to everybody at Soulmates Clothing Line Apparel doing it big at Fashion Week. Shout out to you, man. Follow them at Soulmates_apparel at IG. Once again, SOLE_MATES on IG. Shout out to IE. Jesus, I forgot the plug.
Oh, don't do that. We can't do that now.
Golly. IE Sports LLC. Please don't get mad. Take away my free gear. So
You get free gear?
yeah, man.
When I get free gear?
It's in the bag, man. We trying to join Triple B's, man.
Big baller brand.
We still throw that gauntlet out there to LeVar Ball. Me, Smoochie, who else? No, did we say Ahmad?
Yo,
Ahmad,
look. We got Lamont Taylor. We got the
that's right.
recruiter.
Oh, that's
True.
true.
Tell us who we go on the spot.
Yeah, look.
I got LeVar on lockdown. Don't worry.
Man, we going to go ahead and get into it. Look, I'm going to let you go ahead, man. Tell everybody what you do, how you do it, and why you do it.
Well, that's a long conversation. That's three different topics there. But my name is Lamont Taylor. I'm the owner and president of Get Me Recruited, recruiting and scouting service. And first thing I want to kind of explain the difference between the two, because people hear scout and people hear recruiter and really don't know the difference.
Right.
The difference is a recruiter kind of helps the parents and the kids connect with colleges through the process of getting qualified, the steps it takes. Whereas as a scout, we report to the colleges, so we get the information out. So it's kind of two different things. There are a lot of people that are scouts but not recruiters. There are a lot of people that are recruiters but not scouts. So there's a difference between the two. But when you ask one of the reasons I started this, I coached high school and AAU, my own program, for actually about 21 years. And I decided to, off and on 21 years because I was in the military as well. But when I got out, my nephew moved down with me when he was in 7th grade. When he moved down from Chicago, I knew he was a little something special. And I watched him go through the process, the recruiting process. And at that time, I thought I knew how the recruiting process went, but I didn't. I really didn't. And the bigger he got, the more I realized I didn't know what I thought I knew. And as he went through the ranks, and I think when he came out of high school, he ended up number 3 in the country at his position. He went on to Baylor University, was a one and done, and then he was drafted by the Denver Nuggets. And once I saw him walk across that stage and live his dream, because we hear kids say all the time they want to make it to the NBA. Every kid wants to make it to the NBA. That's why they play. But rarely do we actually get to see them live that dream, especially in our household. So I watched him from the late nights, the when the kids were going to parties, he would not go because he had workouts. You know, he was dedicated. He really wanted to do this, not just for himself, but for his family back home. So when he walked across that stage, you know, and I remember just like yesterday, the tears in my eyes, I felt like I've done all I could do in this process. And in his recruiting process, it got dirty and ugly, and there was a bad side to recruiting if you don't know, you know, or have the knowledge of how it should go, what to do, what not to do. It can get really ugly. So I saw that with his recruiting, and once he was done, I said, well, how can I take the knowledge that I got and help kids beyond just my AAU program? And so that idea, actually, a guy asked me to come out of retirement to coach down in Arkansas. I went down there, and a friend of mine that I just met, we had the same idea of helping kids with this knowledge. And it was on that trip to Arkansas we came up with the concept to get me recruited. Now, that was in 2012. So we don't look anything like we did then. You know, it's evolution. As you know, you have a business and you have an idea, you learn some of the things, you know, whether you test it or either it's an idea and you try to move on, but it looks a lot different now. And we've come to help so many kids that's why I do it, because the inbox, the text messages, the phone calls of appreciation for the kids motivate me. So I post a lot of them because, as you guys may know, you know, they call them haters today. Whenever you're trying to do anything positive,
Right.
people look upon you and look for negative. And if they don't see anything negative, they're gonna make something negative. So that's been the toughest part of what I do, but it's the kids that keep me motivated.
Let me ask this question, man. Why do you feel that some people don't see your vision as far as helping kids get to the next level?
Well, I really think a lot of them do, but there's this human jealousy that some of us have in us. Is whether it be something passed along or something learned, it's a jealousy we have that either we're not the ones doing. And what I've learned is, and had to come to grips with, people are going to be upset with your success that they didn't work for, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, they don't like that you're successful, but they're sitting at home watching TV, not doing anything to help you or what you're trying to do. You know, I guess the most disheartening thing about this, and there have been many days that I just want to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm on the road. You know, I get up at 6 o'clock to be in Charlotte for radio interviews. I do a lot of things that will make you just want to throw your hands up, especially when people don't support you. But what I had to really come to grips with is that's part of being successful. You think about whether it be celebrities or businessmen in your neighborhood, somebody always got something negative to say. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times on the way up, and there's several instances in particular that bother me, people that you started with in the beginning. Y'all had a vision together. And you had that vision that you're talking about. We're gonna make it, you know, and along the way you lose them. You know what I mean? Maybe because you're getting too much shine, or maybe, you know, the jealousy sets in. Money is always a reason that causes people to look at you differently. When they think you're making money, you know what I mean? Right. People count your money.
Yep.
Even money you ain't got, they count it for you.
I know, my cousin Clarence does that all the time. Shout out to my cousin Clarence.
Shout out to cousin Clarence.
That's right.
I didn't mean to put you out there like that. The $1 million question is, how do you know when a kid has that it factor?
You know, there's no guarantee when you're looking at a kid. So what you're looking at is the potential, the upside. he has certain movements, and I tell my guys as they come in, whether they're coming to work with us permanently or interning, it's kind of one of those things that takes time to develop, and either you have it or you don't. Everybody don't have eye. Now, everybody that watch basketball think they're great scouts and recruit. Everybody think,
My dad, for example.
I'm great from section 500 in the point section, man. I'm great.
Everybody does, and I'm okay with that. I'm the guy in a gym that there's a group of guys over there talking about, hey, everybody's evaluating, but I'm kind of over there watching by myself, because a lot of times I look at things that the average person won't look at. Many games I don't even know what the score is or what defense they're running, because I'm looking at the kids' movements. I'm real heavy on body language and IQ. So I'm real heavy on that, because and work ethic. Those three things, because there's certain kids that are above other kids just because they work harder and don't stop. I'll give you a real example. There's a kid by the name of Christian Brown out of Columbia, South Carolina. One of the top kids in the nation by ESPN. This kid's motor, we saw him, I think, when he was in 8th grade. And he was below a few other kids that were there. But me and my guy talked, and we said, hey, man, that kid right there, he's next. I mean, his motor is unbelievable. He would almost work himself till he passed out. And so when a kid has that type of motor, they're going to put it on the floor during the game and in practice. And that's where you get better at. When in games, you're just showing what you worked on. But a lot of kids, when you say, how do you tell when kids, have it? I think one of the mistakes of today is anointing kids so early.
I agree.
I'm gonna say that.
That is really a problem. And this generation, unbelievable. You have no idea that these kids start out so early. And what happens is they start getting the big head early.
Yep.
They stop working early. They've already made it. Mm-hmm. And see, when you're in middle school, and let's say you're athletic or you're a little stronger, that's already gonna stand out. You can bully people, you can get to the rim, but what happens is when you get high school, everybody's working out. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets a little more faster and athletic, so they catch up. So it starts on their skill set. How hard are they working on their skill set?
Right.
Yeah, I got an example of that. I'm from Columbia as well, actually.
Are you? Okay.
I remember 7th Woods.
Oh, yeah.
At the time, he was a 15, 16-year-old phenom. Now he's at Carolina and can't even get in the game. At time, he went to Hammond School. And you see the kids he plays at Hammond. I'm like, okay, he's not playing nobody.
I went over there a couple of times because what's the name son played with him that was in the league. I can't think of his name right now. But yeah, I've been to Hammond a few times over there by the VA hospital.
Yeah, Hammond don't have the best. They don't play the best people.
No.
And I remember 7th Woods. They could dunk. That's all you could do.
Right. Well, 7th I think is going to be fine.
Okay.
Because Carolina has a good program of development.
Yeah, development.
Not that I'm a Carolina fan here.
Here B. Wills love you, man.
That's a whole different. It's a whole different. Being from the North Carolina, that's a touchy subject.
Look, man. I like the school. Whatever school gives me free gear.
So Tar Heels, you heard that right?
Wow.
If you give me free gear, shirt or two, I support your school, man.
But that's a great example. There's several kids that I've seen that are really good athletically, but when they get to the next level, you can't handle the ball. If you 6'2", and your claim to fame is that you can dunk really well, and that's not gonna cut it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, seeing these kids now, they're getting scholarships 5th, 6th grade. I mean, how early is too early now? I mean, it's like LeBron James' son has already got, all right, whatever,
Right. Well, a lot of that is because he's LeBron James.
Right.
Whether he can, but he's actually good. But let's say he couldn't play very well. Yeah. You want LeBron coming to your school. So what people have to also realize is basketball is big business.
Right.
It's business. A lot of business happen. And people get
true.
caught up in the basketball part, but a lot of it's politics and business.
Yep. Like I said, LeBron's son goes to, let's say, Georgia Tech. They're going to have LeBron out everything.
Absolutely.
And therefore, once LeBron's son leaves, LeBron,
Right.
Yeah.
people continue coming there
That's
all of a
right.
sudden because
That's
LeBron stepped
But
there.
what's too? I mean, these kids are getting, they're getting 5th grade. They're getting looked at to go. I mean, how early is it to start recruiting these kids where they can't actually be kids anymore? They're like, it's so much pressure on them in 5th grade.
It's getting worse and worse, and can you blame the school? Probably not, because it's so competitive. They're trying to get an edge. But what I hate about it is what it's doing to the kids themselves. A lot of that too has to do with the parents of today. We see a lot of bad situations. We always thought parents were bad back in the day. You might see it, but now it's unbelievable the things they do. When I tell a lot of parents, just be patient. If your son or daughter hasn't had a scholarship by 9th grade, they feel like he's a failure.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's not the process. So just be patient. So a lot of them get their just due late 11th grade, 12th grade, and it's normal, but they thinking it's abnormal because they're so used to the kids that are different.
You see like LeBron James, the 7th Woods,
Right.
Zion Williamson.
Zion, yeah. Zion is a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
insane.
The thing about it is, and I think what he touched on, when you recruiting kids so early, the main thing it does kill is the spirit of competition. Because, if I'm the number 2, number 3 recruit, and you're the number 1 recruit, you should not be on the same team. And my coach was very old school. That's what he believed in. Competition will get you noticed and scouted. And nowadays, it's, hey, you're the superstar. Instead of going at you, I'm going to be your buddy. I'm going to set the pick for you. I'm going to play all your defense. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it cripples the kid later on in life because they're so busy trying to pair up with the competition instead of actually competing.
Well, a lot of them too. You have a good point there, but a lot of them too. I call them today's prima donnas. They don't want to go to events where there's competition. We call it where the parents or the coaches or whoever's in charge of the kid is trying to hide them. Don't want them to get exposed.
Yeah, ducking.
Ducking. Yeah, they ducking and dodging. They ducking and dodging.
Well, that's another thing. All right, so if a kid just does not have it, but the parents are pushing them to do it, how do you tell a kid, you just
This ain't you.
this is not you, and don't force it, because a lot of parents nowadays, they force it on their
Yeah.
kids to say, hey, you're going to be a basketball star. Look how much money being made.
No
you're
matter
going to be.
what you're going to do. I don't care what you're going to do. You're going to be an NBA
But
player.
being a
Right.
recruiter, how do you tell them, say, look, just go another route?
Well, first of all, I don't get into the personal
Right.
between parents and their kids.
Okay.
Yeah, you a good dude, man.
Yeah.
They got family issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's the case, it's deeper than just the basketball. Whether it be the dad's trying to live out his dream, or the son ain't doing nothing at home, so he want to have something. I don't know, but I'm known for being as honest as I can with them, because I feel like if I'm not, I'm doing them an injustice. If I'm going to tell you you're this and that and you're great just because I want to be friends with your dad or whatever, you're not going to work as hard for the reasons we just talked about, and then you're not going to pan out. There's every kid, almost every adult that has something they can work on. So I always try to focus on what they need to work on. So when we do our articles on the social media, we always bring out the positives of what they do. Now, most of the time, we also write at the end if he continues to work or if he develops that left hand or whatever it is, so they understand you're not there yet.
Okay.
A lot of times they believe they're there and they're not. So with our camps, and we have pretty popular camps, so we pretty much sell out. And just to give you an idea how big camps are, especially the younger camps, like March, we have our middle school girls camp. Well, it's invitation only, and so which is a little harder when it comes to girls because not as many people come do girls, right? And really, years ago, we didn't do girls, but they wanted a platform too. So now that we do the one in March, we take about 120 girls, something like that, but we had 24 different states to fly in.
Oh, wow.
To attend that.
Okay.
And we're talking Kansas, Texas, Connecticut. You know, that's how competitive this market is. So, and I think going to showcase camps like that will help with the Seventh Woods, as you use the example, because what happens is if he's playing at Hammond School and they play
Spring Valley.
Yeah, well, Spring Valley's pretty good.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
go.
Spring Valley, my guys over at Spring
Sorry, my
Valley.
bad. C.H.
Those-
Johnson.
Don't talk about his boy. Like,
Yeah,
I'm trying to throw a school near the area.
Dozier, shout out to my man Dozier over at
Dozier, yeah, okay.
Spring Valley. His son is doing well, PJ.
what's
PJ.
up, man?
Yeah,
He's
but
with the draft second round, right?
yeah, right. Yeah,
I forgot what team got picked him though.
I can't remember. I just saw him at the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
But when those guys, get a chance to play against better competition because they haven't during the school year, it gives them a gauge, and that's what I tell parents all the time. Don't have your kid come looking for rankings or looking for those. Use it as a gauge.
Yep.
Another thing we do is we always give out, like we just had last weekend I was in Fredericksburg. We did a showcase there. We always give out camp awards. And
Okay.
We have an all-star team, the ones that, stood out the most and so forth. But I tell kids, don't buy into the all-star camps. I mean, the all-star teams at the end. Don't buy into that. And I'll tell this quick story that I told them. When my nephew that I was just talking about was in the 9th grade, we went to a showcase camp in Greensboro. Never forget it, all right? Went there, and again, I didn't know much about this whole world. So I'm there, and, he's just killing. I'm sitting back, that's my boy right there. That's my boy. I'm just, smiling. If I could have smoked a cigar in there, I would have smoked one, right? We killing right now, right? So at the end, we had to go to lunch, and they were going to announce the all-star teams afterwards. And I said, well, let's go ahead and grab you something to eat so you'll be digested by the time this all-star game happens, right? So when the all-star list came out, he didn't make it. Now, mind you, at the time, I think he was 6'6", and, he played, they actually compared him a lot to Kevin Durant because he's long, lanky, a wing player. That can play inside out. And so I remember on that ride home, and he probably gonna kill me telling the story, but on that ride home, he was just crying, just couldn't believe, Unc, I did everything, I was killing, and you feel sorry for your child. You want to comfort him. But I remember telling him, and I tell parents today this same thing, use it as motivation. So I told him, I said, look, next time you go into a gym, you have to leave it not for debate where you supposed to be, right? You can't leave it up to the judges. It's kind of like boxing.
Yep.
You go to the scorecards or you can knock him out.
Yep.
So we talked about that, and he was still trying to hear it. He was still crying, but he heard me. So years later, we were chilling, right? And he brings it back up. Now, mind you, this had to be about 7 years, 8 years later. Like, it's still bothering him, right? He said, remember that time we was in Greensboro and I didn't make the all-star team? He brought it up, right? And I had a drink, I'm chilling, and he talking about an all-star team in 9th grade, right? So he said, I really think I should have made it. I said, yeah, you're right. I believe you should have too. I said, but I want you to stop for a minute and think about this. How many of those kids that day are in the back of a limousine like we are right now on the way to Barclays to watch the All-Star Weekend?
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So I tell kids this story to understand it's not where you at, it's where you want to be.